Hello, Cassidy here from the Information Addicts podcast, coming to you from the desert once again. This week has been nuts. We've had a heat wave in Arizona, and last week it was like 118 degrees, and now it's dropped down to 85. So I figured I'd take advantage of the weather and do a little walk and talk, which is actually good timing because this last week has given me a lot to think about that I kind of want to chew on and process. So the fact that I get the opportunity to come out and do this, I'm very grateful for it. I'm starting to like the walk and talks more. There's still part of me that doesn't like doing it, but I actually have found them helpful in some of the ways that I process through things. But anyway, so last weekend I went to Oakland, California. For those of you who don't know, I've spent the last 3 years working on my first feature documentary. It's about the tip-free restaurant movement in the US and sort of why restaurants are doing that and how minimum wage affects that all. But anyways, the restaurant that I mainly focused on was located in Oakland, California. It's one I actually worked for many years. And they decided to close their doors, sell their restaurant. And it's actually a really good thing. They're not forced out because of COVID. They made a choice, and it's giving them the opportunity to move on to bigger and better things, which I'm very happy for. But I decided, because I was sad it was closing and that I would not be able to eat there again, I wanted to spend one last time and have dinner there. So I flew out and celebrated with them and got to go back and see old friends and go to old stomping grounds and kind of live in the nostalgia of what it was to live in Oakland. And I always have a very fond place in my heart for Oakland. It was the first town that I moved to from home. And so it always felt like my first home, because obviously I'm my hometown, but it was the first place that felt like home to me, and that wasn't out of just circumstance. And I loved being back and seeing the buildings and seeing a lot of the things that reminded me of a really beautiful time in my life where I felt like I was thriving. I felt like, sorry. I'm going to get run over. Where I felt like I was thriving and I was living and doing the exact thing that I was supposed to. But it kind of left me with a lot of mixed emotions as well, because as I was revisiting this place that I have such a fondness for, there was a lot of reminders of the difficult times that have come through that city in the last couple of years. Walking down the streets and seeing windows still boarded up and windows cracked from the protests and riots that were happening last year in 2020. And I was actually in town when the recent shooting happened at Lake Merritt, and I was actually staying just a couple blocks from there, and I was completely safe. I never saw anything, which I'm very grateful for, but it was just this reminder of the craziness and the danger and the uncertainty that was within that city and just in a world in general. It's not just in Oakland where you're seeing those things. And I think it all sort of got me thinking and started making me really process about this idea of political ideology or political formation and the way that we practice and participate in those systems and what we support. And I think for me, Oakland was a place where politics started to become more important to me. I would say I'm still not crazy about politics, but what I lived through and the people that I was with and what I got to experience and the way that the political decisions that we make affect the world around us, and sort of revealed some of the unintended consequences or ripple effects of choices that we make, and how we participate in voting really solidified when I was there. And, as I was trying to go to sleep the night after the shooting and kind of, thinking about all the things that happened, I kept thinking about what is this story going to do in the conversations that we have with our friends? What's it going to do in the way that we think about policies and practical solutions to... I always do this. Oh, sorry. I will get a better system at some point. I need to get one of those little Apple pods or something. But I don't like those. But anyways, what is it going to do for the way we participate in the political system? How is it going to create more division in the conversations that we have on Facebook, in person, with our friends, or family, or strangers? And is it going to do more good or bad? And I have to say I'm fairly uncertain, and maybe slightly pessimistic about the results of what all that will lead to. And also very troubled by the presence of, feeling unsafe and seeing a city that I love, that offers so much and created so much beauty in my life and in so many others, being plagued with some of those problems. And I guess all this to say, I've really been starting to think about how am I doing with my participation in the political thought and construction, and how am I doing in having conversations about politics and doing it in a way that's not placating, but is also not being dogmatic or condescending. And I think for me, when I started this project, that was always a big piece of what I wanted to do, because I really had so much connection with my information addiction was to politics and trying to understand, what are the narratives that are being told to us and how true are they? And, what is the best moral decision in my political choices? And how do I make sense of that in the face of other people having very different political choices than I have, potentially? And how do I work and live in a world with all of that tension? And I wanted to continue that and keep practicing that in this project. I have to say I'm by no means the best at this. In fact, I've made a lot of mistakes, and I've done my best to try to apologize for it when I've acknowledged it. But I think there's something good at being aware about that and participating in that. And it's actually really funny, the last couple conversations that I've had actually related to politics and how that can affect us and what we believe and what we think. And so I'm really excited to release those. And I hope that it can continue to add to this conversation and move in that direction of trying to help myself and maybe help others too work on this idea of being more responsible when answering questions about the big ideas. And I think for a lot of people, politics are the biggest idea. It's their identity. It's the thing that gives them worth. It's the thing that, in their mind, drives them to be better and to live morally. And, I think there's a lot about politics that does affect our lives and can be a huge part in the way that we look at the world and answer questions. And so, I don't know, I'm always hesitant to talk about politics because it is so divisive. And it so often becomes more about outrage culture and clicks than really solving problems and trying to understand other people. And of course, the things that I believe I think are right. But I also am aware that I'm a limited individual. And I'm eager to learn from other people about what they think and how they think. And I hope that you all will give kindness to the people that I talk to as I continue to explore these things, and that we can work through those things and potentially maybe find a way to have a better conversation. And yeah, I hope you enjoy them too. I hope that they spark something of interest in you. They definitely have in me, and I'm going to be thinking a lot about them and the way that they are going to change my thinking forward, and the participation in all of those things. And I don't know, I just feel very lucky that I have so many wonderful, interesting people who are willing to be vulnerable and share their stories and share their opinions about uncomfortable topics like religions and politics and what have you. So yeah, it's been amazing. But anyways, I think I'm going to leave it there. Keep it short and sweet. I probably have already rambled enough. But thank you again for watching. I will be traveling here coming soon. It seems as though COVID is slowly but surely fading a little bit and creating more normalcy. So I will still have videos for the next couple weeks. But if there are issues and I don't have one, that's why I'm out of town and I'm traveling. But I'll be back and hopefully ready to take on more content and keep moving forward and see where this goes. All right, I'm gonna stop. Bye.